Welcome back to Boy Band Break, where we encourage you to take a break from your day and join us in some great boy band conversation. As always, my name is Diane.
I'm Chinzia.
I'm Sophia.
And I'm Lydia, a.k.a. Mama Lou.
Oh my God, he's back again.
He's back.
Da-da.
So we have Brian Jansen back with us today, and we're very excited that he is back. So welcome back, Brian.
Thank you for having me again.
I'm glad we didn't scare you away.
Yes, thank you for not being terrified.
I'm on the fence still, but
I've been sat in the corner on
this
purpose.
is a test run.
Hey, Lydia, you're really dressed up today. That seems a
I
little...
dress like this all the time.
Well, do you?
Let me just stretch my legs. Oh, what are those
Yeah.
heels doing there?
Yeah.
Yes.
What does this mean?
I know you can only hear this, guys, but she's uncomfortably close to me right I can hear her heartbeat.
Don't worry, Brian's girlfriend will keep Lydia away. We're
No,
good.
I've been instructed
We
to
got
stay
you,
in the
we got
corner.
you.
Okay.
Nah, she understands how this game works. It's just business.
Don't worry, Kenny. Don't worry.
Yeah. Also, Lydia's married.
Yes. Hello, dear. Okay.
All right.
Does Kenny
so,
listen to the podcast?
No.
No, that's fine. What I thought we would talk about today, since we have Brian here, is I would love to get a perspective from a male fan on all things, on your experiences, on boy bands in general, because I feel like, you know, when you go to a Backstreet Boys concert, when you go to a One Direction, when you're at those Joe Bro shows later this year, you're going to see a lot of women. You know, we went to that mixtape tour and they literally changed the sign.
They changed the male bathroom
and was
to
like,
a girl's
this
bathroom.
is temporarily a women's bathroom because...
And it was really weird and gross with all the urinals and two stalls.
Yeah.
So where would I go? Like in the hall or something?
I guess.
You don't matter.
Behind the
outside.
concession stand?
Behind a bush.
Off topic, my male teacher in high school went to Lilith Fair, and it was very rare for him to be there, and he was with his female fiance, obviously, and he went into the men's room because it was a men's room. When he came out, he got punched in the gut by a girl and like fell on the ground. So, yeah.
Because he wasn't supposed to be in there?
But it was a men's room. It wasn't converted to a women's
Yeah.
washroom. So, yeah. So
Maybe she was just like a man-hating feminist.
Perhaps. I don't know. But anyways, most of the boys, I would say, at boy band concerts are either with their girlfriends or with their boyfriends, and that's pretty much it. I guess you don't see a lot of straight males.
But like
Too
you
many.
do exist. There you are.
We're
out
unicorns,
unicorn.
but we do exist.
So like you've been a boy band fan since you were young?
Yeah, since I was like 6, 7, probably younger. I can't remember the exact date, but...
And so how was that growing up?
Oh, man, I was just so popular. Just swatting girls away. It was crazy, you know? It was almost too much. I danced to Backstreet Boys at NSYNC and talent shows in elementary school and high school. And even though people are like, oh, they love the dancing, I'm still dancing to they would like see me in the halls and like do the moves from it and like they liked it, but it's like they also laughed at it, you know what I mean? Which is totally fine. I get it. I'm not the Backstreet Boys target audience, but
So did you have a group of male friends that would dance with you, or did you perform by yourself?
I performed by myself. I couldn't find
Okay.
anyone that was
Even female friends who were like, I also love Backstreet Boys.
No, because I was pure. I'm like, no, it's a boy band. It's going to be a male street.
Yes, I agree. Yeah.
That's true. That's true. So then, as you got older, were people like more accepting? Like now that you're an adult,
Did you have to hide the fact that you were a boy band fan, or did people just know that you were
They
a fan?
knew. I mean, even when I did stand-up comedy for a while, like I had a lot of jokes in my act about some of the bands that I loved and stuff like that. When as you get older, people just care less. It's like, hey, man, everyone has their thing. Live your truth. Do you?
right, yeah.
But a lot of people still like find it funny where like I'll talk about it at work. I've been trying to convince everybody at work to watch the Backstreet Boys documentary.
It's so good.
I agree. They should definitely.
One of my friends said, "Oh, can I borrow this DVD from you?" I'm like, "Yep, but you have to watch the Backstreet Boys documentary this weekend." And so I came back the next day, and he's not like he knows some of their songs, but he's never sought them out. And afterwards, he was like asking me questions like, "How did the album do? How was the tour? Is Brian's voice okay?" Like he was like, he was really into it. I'm like,
that's so nice.
and I've said to people, I'm like, okay, even if you don't like Backstreet Boys, you can't be in the music industry for 20 years and not have some interesting stories to tell.
Yeah.
Like they really went through the ringer and came out the other side and still going strong. Were broke for the first 2 years, got taken advantage of. Brian's voice problems, and you really see like it's I don't know why this just turned into a plug for Show 'em What You're Made Of, but
It
now,
is a good movie.
now on iTunes or wherever you rent movies.
It's now available on Amazon Prime, so like you probably already have Amazon Prime, right?
Right.
Like you're shopping, you're ordering things, next day delivery. Come on.
So yeah,
Exactly.
now it just becomes a thing at work that people are like, oh, Brian's talking about his thing again. Like everyone knows what I'm about. They know about the show. You can't create a show about this and not love them. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's go through a few things. You mentioned on the last podcast that your favorite band was the Backstreet Boys. So, like, what's your favorite song from Backstreet Boys? I want to see if it's different from like what women prefer.
I always have to break into two categories: up tempo and ballads.
Smart.
Excellent.
For ballads, I'd probably say "Back to Your Heart" from the Millennium album.
That's a good song.
Yeah.
I like ballads.
wrote
I
it?
like ballads that start off slow and then after the bridge, key change, and like we really get that momentum.
Yep.
Swelling. For fast songs, probably "Everyone" or
That's a good song.
Yeah, that's a good one.
oh god, or "Larger Than Life." I don't know. It's
Yeah.
It's a good anthem
It's like
song.
heart. It's like
a fan
picking
song.
your favorite sibling or whatever.
Favorite boy.
You're my favorite sibling, Lydia.
You're my
Aw.
I feel like we knew Lydia's favorite sibling.
Yeah, no, I meant if you had like a bunch of kids, you're like, I can't pick my favorite. I
but,
like
what if
them
you
all.
hate your family though?
Well, okay, yeah.
That's why Rico's not our favorite sibling.
Is it just like you're the one that annoys me the least? You're my favorite.
Yeah.
And also, I feel like the song question, it really depends on like the day or what mood
Yeah.
you're in and things like that, right? So,
I've been
like,
doing the show right now, so when I'm listening to my iPod, any song that's in the show I can't listen to anymore because
you're sick of it, right?
First of all, I'm used to the 30-second chunk of it that's in the show that I dance to, so I feel like if I hear the other stuff, it's going to throw me off.
Yeah.
But I'm just like I can't listen to anything that's in the show right now because I'm hearing it too much.
What did you think about the DNA album? What did you think about the new album?
I loved it overall. There was a couple songs on the back half that maybe will eventually win me over, but "Way We Were" I wasn't crazy about.
Oh Jesus,
Really?
that's my favorite.
Is it? Yeah, I remember that.
My faves too.
For those of you just
Yeah.
listening, Diane, I've had this rivalry going. So she's like, "Well, I like this." I'm like, "Well, because you like that, I don't."
It's true.
But usually, if you don't like a song on the album, when you go see it live, it's like way better. So maybe you'll change your mind once you go see the show.
Maybe. I don't think I'm going to be able to see the show this
Well, they
time.
don't even
YouTube.
They don't even sing the whole song. Spoiler alert. Sorry.
The Way We
everyone.
Were?
No.
Yeah.
Whatever.
That I hate the Sex Police one. Which one's that one?
I love
New
that
Love.
song.
How do you hate New Love?
I love that song because it's, I don't know, it's really funky.
I thought it was a good, it's
yeah.
a good beat. I like it.
I've heard
Kevin
rumors.
really gets his shine on it.
I've heard rumors. Again, spoiler alert for DNA Tour, that there's some very interesting choreography.
they
Oh my god, my
change
girlfriend
on
actually
stage?
said, "Is that the moves they're doing?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "That doesn't feel right. Like it just looks like it doesn't belong."
So maybe you'll change it. Maybe it'll be like Sweat.
It was also weird.
Oh.
It was
It
also
could
weird because it
be.
was only a 12-song album and 4 of the songs were released before it came out. So I
Right,
feel like,
yeah.
and some of the songs are only like 2.5 minutes. So I'm like, I feel like I'm not. I loved it overall. I'm happy we're getting a new Backstreet Boys album, but I'm just because there was so few songs and the songs were so short. I feel like I didn't hear a lot of new stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
But there was some great stuff on it. I love it overall.
Okay, I'm gonna kind of jump all over the place here. What do you think? New kids. Jesus Christ. NSYNC. Should they reunite?
Yes,
Should they
absolutely.
go on tour with Backstreet Boys?
Yeah, that would be a great tour, I'm sure. Yeah, no, I think they should.
It'll mend the gap again, right? Be like, like Lou created us against us, but we're actually friends.
I think that
could
no,
be
I don't want to
nice.
shame anybody, but Joey and Chris would probably have to get in tour shape.
Yes.
If you're going to do it, like to do a one-off performance is one thing, but like to do it for 90 minutes every night. Or maybe
that's-
they can do it. Maybe I'm just being an asshole.
So is that why, so that's why you're saying more to have the Backstreet and Sync tour kind of like an Did you go see NKOTBSB?
No, I couldn't see it. unfortunately.
Okay, so they kind of just would go back and
Yeah,
forth. And stuff,
I've
so
watched
that,
the Live from London
that is
DVD a million
fantastic.
times, but
But I feel like that way at least that could ease and sync back into it, so they don't have to put on a full 90-minute show by themselves right away.
I'm sure if they went on tour and they were going to do it themselves, that they would do it. Like once you have it in you, you never forget it. They know what
True.
they need to where they need to be able to sing and dance for 90 minutes. Plus, even the Backstreet Boys, they still dance, but it's not as hard of dancing as they used to do because they're like we're in our.
It's not what I've heard.
It's
Really?
yeah, lots more dancing.
Oh really? From what I've seen, like it's
Well,
like
it's definitely more than what New Kids did on their last tour.
well, if you look at like what the choreography Backstreet Boys used to do for Larger Than Life, it used to be so like the last time they went that full out was for In a World Like This, but now it's a little more simplified, like they did for Vegas and this. Like they're still dancing. I'm not saying they're not exhausted, but it's not at the level of what they were doing in their 20s because.
That's true, and they've even said that as well, that they're kind of trying to slow down a bit.
So do you think NSYNC could do it without Justin?
Not because he was the most popular member, but I feel like he was the melody in their harmony. So, I will say that JC I always think had a better voice. Even Justin said so.
I feel like that's the consensus amongst everybody.
We were watching a clip of this. I promise you. We were working on our harmonies, and I was showing
Or
the guys.
Cynthia would like to say, Chris, I promise you. You ruin every song.
And the other guys hadn't really heard it, but they were like, "Oh my god! Like these harmonies are unbelievable." And they were like, "What?" Like they didn't know who JC was, and they're like, "How is that guy doing that?" Like it's. But no, I don't think they can do it without Justin only because he was such a huge part of their sound. I don't care about the popularity, but yeah, he was such a big part of the harmony. Like he sang lead harmonies. So
yeah.
Speaking of Justin, what do you think about boy band side solo projects? Like obviously can go really bad and break up the band, or it could work out.
Well, it depends on who you would ask. His accountant, I'm sure, was. Oh, you're getting a lot of money, and we don't have to split it 5 ways. This is great.
Well, for the boy band in general.
Yeah, no, I like it when. I feel like Justin's the best example of somebody that went solo in terms of how to be successful, but he didn't stay with the band. Backstreet Boys have all done side projects, but none of them have been like massive hits, like in that way. Who else has gone? I mean, I guess Zayn, the first album was big, but then the second one didn't do well.
But Zayn left and then he did solo stuff.
True.
Like, he
I'm
was
just trying to think of,
I'm
like,
not doing...
has there been a boy band member that, like, did a solo project while they were in the band, but it was a massive success and they were able to, like, do both?
Yeah, I don't think there has
AJ
been.
and like that first suit.
No, but they haven't.
Would
That
you
wasn't,
say
like,
that was
huge,
massive?
though.
I don't think it was massive.
Nick
no.
did pretty well with his album, but they were kind of like on height,
But not massive.
But not massive.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do you think that if Nick's first album, Nick Carter, would have gone like the Justin Timberlake route, he would have left Backstreet, or do you think that he would have stuck back and stayed?
I don't know. I mean,
At that time,
Yeah.
it was pretty like, ooh, it's like.
That was
when he
Nick
did
was
in
Bad
2002,
Boy.
that was when they were taking a while to record Never
Yeah.
Gone, and
I find
They
that
were-
Nick just likes to keep doing stuff to keep himself busy. So when the boys are taking forever to do anything, he likes to just hop in, do an album, do a quick tour, and then like come back to the group.
yeah, it's nice to have that. But yeah, I can't think of any one where the band stayed together and one went solo and was huge and then was still doing it at the same time.
Yeah.
Write in if I'm wrong.
Yeah. Because like even when like Ashley left O-Town, he didn't really do it to pursue music. He
Voice
did like voice acting in musicals and things like that, but he's not like a solo artist like making it big, right? So
Yeah.
No, he had that reality show on MTV where he was.
yes.
But the band was broken up, and it wasn't they didn't break up to go solo. It's just they weren't as popular anymore.
Yeah.
Like they were it was weird to be a boy band in 2003.
Yeah.
Nobody was buying it at that time. Like I said, it went away for a few years, and then
yeah.
Jonas Brothers people came back, went away. One Direction wanted. Always does that every
It's
few years.
always the wave.
Cyclical, as Chunzia said.
Yes, good job,
I
Lydia.
remember the word.
A fun, good word. Do you think there's any benefits to being a male boy band fan?
does
Well, I
this
was going
help
to
you
say
for
if I was
ladies?
single and I went to the Backstreet Boys cruise, I would probably have a field day.
Yes.
Like,
Probably would.
a bunch of women would be like, "Hey, I can't get Nick. You'll do. You're not Nick, but nah, I'll take what I can get. We're at sea."
So the first Backstreet Boys cruise was only a half charter. So there was only half of the Backstreet Boys, and everything else was like normal people. Not that we're not normal, but whatever. But there was
They
these
got
two.
literally half the ship to themselves.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we did everything together as a group. So we'd all do like the concerts and things like that. So the other people on this Carnival cruise had no idea the Backstreet Boys were even going to be on this cruise. So they would just like randomly like, run into them places and
Oh,
stuff.
I
Right?
see. So not everyone was there specifically for the cruise.
Yeah,
I
so
understand now.
so I guess they hold like 2,000 people, and 1,000 were for the Backstreet Boys, and the other ones weren't there. So that it really annoyed some of them because we would like, if Nick went to the club, we would all try to get into the club, and then it'd kick the people
Yeah.
out. So since then they've been full
And all
charter
the screaming,
cruises.
they'd be like, I'm paying
Yeah. X
thousands of
amount,
dollars for
yeah.
my own cruise and I can't sleep."
Yes,
Yeah.
but there were these two guys, and I want to say they were from like Ireland or something, and they weren't even Backstreet Boys fans, but they were just like, "Why are there 1,000 women roaming the ship?" And then they really took advantage of the situation.
Oh,
They're
they
like,
have an
"This
Irish
is amazing."
accent. Oh my god, they're
Yeah.
Exactly. So they have the accent, and they're like single males. So they actually paid to go on the second Backstreet Boys cruise when it was a full charter to like try to hook up
I
with the
definitely
ladies.
feel like
Smart.
the one that I went on,
The second one.
the first one that I went on, we ran into these two guys, and they were just, where are you from, blah blah blah, and then we were like, so like you came on a Backstreet Boys cruise, like that's interesting, and they were like, oh, we don't even know who the Backstreet Boys are, and we're like, pardon? And they were like, this is what their story was, and tell me if you think they're lying, okay? They claimed that they ran a marathon, and as part of this marathon, they were giving away prizes, and one of the prizes were tickets to this cruise, but they didn't tell them it was a Backstreet Boys cruise. Right. So they won, and they came here, and it's a Backstreet Boys cruise, but they don't even know the Backstreet Boys. Never heard of any of their songs.
Okay.
I
That
don't
sounds
agree
really
with it.
fishy. Plus, if you're gonna go, okay, let's say you're not a fan of Backstreet Boys, but you want to go on this tour or this cruise because there's a bunch of women and you'll do great. Shouldn't you be enthusiastic about Backstreet Boys? You're talking to a bunch of fans. Like, if I went, that's why I think if I was single, I'd do really well because I genuinely love them as much as you guys. Oh my God, let's talk shop. Let's geek, nerd out. It's not cool to, like, if somebody's like, oh my God, I love Backstreet Boys. You're like, I don't even know them.
106.
Like, because it makes it,
Get out of here.
because it's like they're insulting you.
not
Like,
nice
how dare you?
Exactly.
Well, because I was totally their gambit, because like then later
They're
on,
like, oh, we're marathon runners. We're very fit. Oh, we don't know anything about the Backstreet Boys.
Also, anyone who constantly talks about the marathons they run, I don't care.
Yeah.
Don't do that to me. Don't.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah.
listen, I'm here to have a good time, not talk about working out, please.
Especially like people with marathons, like they like do weird stuff. They like pee their pants while they're like
Yeah.
running, and like even sometimes.
Oh, it's fun when my nipples bleed. Like,
That too. Exactly. It's gross.
I got nothing against people who run marathons. Good for you. It does a lot of good. I just don't want to hear about it.
Same.
In your group, they love
Especially on
it.
a cruise.
Yeah.
But honestly, there actually felt like there's more males on the cruise the last few times, but they're usually with their fiancés or wives or something. I didn't find too many.
And I feel like that was a thing where the girls wanted to go alone, and the guys were like, "Oh no,
Yeah.
I'm coming with you."
I'm making sure that you and Nick don't hook
Yeah.
up. Not that he would,
Oh,
but
come on.
you should go on a cruise, though. They're super fun.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're so much fun.
Oh yeah, that does sound fun.
What do you think of people who like ask the Backstreet Boys for like proposal help? Like, hey, I'm gonna propose to my girlfriend, and they're like, okay.
If you can make it happen, why not? That's a cool story.
But like, doesn't it happen often though? Like, isn't it kind of like?
It happens often, but for the person that's getting engaged, it's special to them.
Yes,
They're not
true.
thinking about the other people that have done it. Like,
Yeah, I suppose.
I listen to Kevin Smith's podcast a lot. I'm a huge fan. A lot of people get engaged or propose on there, and
On a podcast?
he's just as well. They'll be like doing live shows or something. And the question is like one time he actually, because he's officiated, he actually married them on stage.
Aww.
He does that a lot, but he's just as excited about it. And he knows that for those people, that means a big deal to them. Like famous people talk about that. Like George Clooney said, I meet hundreds of people a day. I'm not going to remember them just because I can't. But that person who meets me, they're going to remember that for the rest of their life. So
Yes.
to each person, it's special. And so, yeah.
Good quote.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And in general, I feel like, at least in our experience, boy bands are really good about that. Like we've never met any boy band member who was like dismissive and like, yeah, I've been doing this all day. I don't really care to talk to you, or like, make eye contact and shake your hand and ask you how your day was. They were like, yeah, okay, let's take a picture.
Well,
Because,
that's really nice to hear.
Like, well, obviously, like some people have bad days and stuff. But
Everyone
like,
has a different experience.
I feel like you go in with low expectations and you just ask. And a lot of people are too scared to ask boy bands when they're there. And as Diane has attributed, Sophia and I have verbal diarrhea when we're around any celebrity. So we just say whatever, and we're like, "Hey, can you do this? Can you dress up like this?" We have this picture of us like for Canada Day where we're like, we're like, "Hey, we're gonna do Canada Day for our picture." They're like, "Yeah, cool." So we go in there, we like put like
the flag.
a flag on Nick and gave him a hockey stick, and then Howie's like, I want the maple syrup, and he had that, and AJ was that, and they were like super excited and stuff, and that was like, no offense, but the best picture of the convention.
I think
and
if
the photographer
I
said
think
that.
if you're just nice to them and don't act crazy, like if somebody's screaming and like
Yes.
grabbing their clothes, I don't care if you're famous or not. I wouldn't want somebody around me like that
Yeah.
because it's like I'm
100%.
actually worried about you.
Yes.
Yeah. And again, obviously, sometimes people get overcome with emotion,
get
but it's
that,
just
too.
like, okay, chill the crazy, keep it on the inside, and then afterwards you can go like scream and jump with your friends or whatever. But
I
like,
have a job where I've gotten to like serve a bunch of celebrities, and I try to not like a brag thing, it's like a service thing, but just be nice to them, act normal. They're usually very kind.
Yeah. Be respectful.
They put their pants on.
But then again, if
go
I
two
if I
legs at a time.
but then
Two
again if
legs
I
at a time,
but then again if
wow.
I served a Backstreet Boy, I don't know. I might be that crazy person. I'm saying don't be.
yeah.
Oh my god,
You
doing a
never
show
know.
about you. Oh my god, you gotta come.
So
Do you think so? I don't know.
I don't know. I feel
Have
like
you met, like, because you said you did act, you're an actor and you're a comedian and things like that. Have you met any celebrities? Have you ever been, like, overcome with emotion when you meet someone and be like,
there's times where I'm like, I've suddenly realized who I'm serving. Like, I'm like, I served Sting a while back, and like,
oh, cool.
Nice.
halfway through, my coworker and I kind of looked at each other as if like, we're both aware of what's going on right now, right? Because I didn't realize.
Not a dream?
I didn't realize he was very nice. I served Keanu Reeves, super nice. Like,
I love
I'm not saying this to brag. Like, it's just,
No,
it's
for
like,
sure.
But yeah, most of the people I've served, super kind. Pierce Brosnan, super nice. Asked me my name. I'm like, oh. And then he remembered my name. You are the greatest person ever, Pierce. Who was that? Bill Burr had that joke that celebrities have to do so little for people to think they're the greatest person ever. Like if somebody sneezes and Matt Damon just goes, bless you, they'll be like, oh my God, he's the, for the rest of their life. They'll talk about that. Just because he did the minimum thing you have to do to be kind to somebody.
No joke. Because especially when you've been a fan of someone for so long, like I remember it wasn't even the first time I met Nick. It was like maybe the third. And it was an autograph signing and he asked me what my name was because he wanted to write it like on the thing that he was signing. And I was like, oh my God, he knows my name. Like,
Yes.
You're welcome for that.
Yes, you are.
yeah, that was all Chinzia. Thank you, Chinzia.
Genius.
That's so cool.
I had Post-it notes with people's names on it. I was like, let's put our names on it. So we had started the trend of him just autographing it to us with our names. So when we got to Diane's like, oh, I don't want to have that. That's stupid. And then when she got to
I think I said it was
you
stupid.
did. We said yes, she did. She was like,
You had
guys.
like pre-written it and
we
he
don't-
signed it?
I had a whole bunch
This
of
was
Post-it
the first
notes.
time I
We
ever
just
met you.
met her.
I don't
She
think
didn't
to your
say that.
face I would be like, this is stupid. I might have thought it.
Yes.
She didn't say it the first
So then
day
I
that
was
we
just
met.
like, so I put my name. So I had like everyone let's write our names on Post-it notes, put it on there. So then he was like, oh, I'm supposed to autograph these to people and not just write my own name. So then Diane was after us in line.
Because
and that's-
everyone was asking to personalize their CD. So there you go. That's a beautiful. Have a sticky note.
tip for future.
Good to know. Thank you.
Especially if your name's Chinzia.
Make their life as easy as possible.
Yes, for sure. Because the Americans don't know the letter Z, and then if I say Chinzia and then say CIN, they automatically write CHIN, and I'm just like,
By the way, I don't know if I'm allowed to ask this on air because I don't know if it's a private thing, but you said all the boy band members you've met have been super nice. What's the deal with Justin Timberlake? What's the beef coming through? Why? Because I hear you guys complaining about him all the time.
I personally have no problem with Justin Timberlake,
I
although I've
don't
never met
either.
him. Chinzia and Lydia have met him.
Yes.
Lydia has no problem with him either.
Well,
I
Ooh.
don't have a problem.
Spill the
with
dirt,
me.
ladies.
okay, so the very
Challenge
first
to the
time,
children.
okay, that's the
Oh,
main
that's-
one.
okay, no,
So
no,
that's the
no.
main one. So the very first time we went to an autograph signing in Pickering,
Ontario.
Ontario,
Mm-hmm.
and Chris was my favorite.
What
my
year was
favorite.
this?
April 17th, 1998.
Okay, so they were
So
there.
they were pretty like new. They had just launched in North America in January of that year. So
Okay.
they had pretty good momentum there. So there was like 200 people getting autographs. We were near the end of the line. We were good. So we were there. And as we're going through the line, everybody was awesome. And then when I get to Justin, he didn't even acknowledge my presence. He just signed it and then was like looking up at the girls on the balcony and like looking at them and stuff. And I was like, okay, fine. So then when I got down, my friend, who was a big Justin fan, was right before me. And she's like, oh my God, Justin's so great. I said, thank you. And he's like, no, thank you. And I was like, okay, cool. But like, he didn't even look at me.
Wow.
And I was just like, fuck you, Justin. Did you have anything on that?
No, not that one. No.
So then we were at Challenge for the Children in Miami. 2004. I just looked up
right,
the date
yes.
there. And actually, this is the last time they actually performed together. Like, they were already starting to break up at that point. So we were at the hotel because they had the host hotel. So it was a celebrity weekend. So on the Saturday, all the celebrities played like beach games and stuff. And then on the Sunday, it was a basketball game. So we didn't think that they were staying at the host hotel, but they're like, oh, come to Challenge for the Children, and this is the host hotel. So we got a hotel room there, and they were actually all staying at the hotel. So we ran into like Lindsay Lohan and everybody at the thing. So we were on our way to the pool because nothing was happening at this point. So it was me, Lydia, and these two other sisters that we had met. And we're walking, and we get off the elevator, and we go down the hallway to the pool, and this guy's like, you can't come here. And we're like, why not? And they're like, well, you can't come here. You need to stay here. And there was literally, it was a door that went into like, not the servants, what are they called?
Service.
Service entrance. So, you know, where like all like the chefs and the
Yeah.
maids and everything, they kind of go through there. So it was there, which we obviously weren't allowed to go in because we were guests. And there was like this little cubby hole, and there was the elevators, and there was the long hallway. And we're like, not even holding cameras, just holding towels. We're like, we're just trying to get to the pool. And they're just like, you can't be here. Don't talk to him. We're like, what is happening? And this guy was like yelling at us. And then we look and we see that Justin is standing there. And so, like, obviously this guy was his security. So
How
we're like,
far away was he?
he was like at the end of the hall.
Okay.
So like,
No, he was closer.
he was like maybe
closer
like
than
20 feet away, not too far. So we're like, okay, so they're like, stand up against the wall, don't talk to him, blah, 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 blah. Like, don't look at him, don't make eye contact. And we're like, what the
Jesus.
heck? So, okay, granted, it was his like security. So he comes down and he's like bouncing a basketball in the hallway of this like fancy hotel. And he gets to the elevator and they like push the button. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to shoot my shot because we're here anyways. And I was just like, well, good luck today at the game. And he's like, yeah, whatever. And like rolls his eyes and gets in the elevator.
Yeah.
And I was like, and go fuck yourself, sir. Because, and then even though he was already gone, we still had to go through the service way to get to the pool. And we're just like, he was just like a dismissive jerk. And I'm like, understand if maybe you're people, but I'm like, we're not even Justin fans. Like, we're Chris and
'cause
Joey
at first
fans.
I thought, like, is he even aware that his security is like being like? Because I mean, I've heard celebrities talk about like, they yell
But
at their
he was in
assistants
the
like,
hallway.
"You represent me."
Yeah.
But I guess he heard
We
it.
didn't
and he's just
ask.
as
We
bad.
didn't have anything for him to autograph. We didn't have cameras. We literally had nothing. I don't know if he was concerned that 4 fat chicks were going to like attack him or something. I don't really know. But it was just like, maybe if we were skinny with giant tits, maybe he would have had a different thing. But he was just like, we weren't even acknowledging him. And he was just like, he rolled his eyes and got in the elevator.
I
And
know
he was just
he
like a
meets a
complete
lot more people
jerk.
than the average person, but like at least from that story, it's not that hard to be kind.
And I was like,
Yeah.
we were
Like saying
literally
thank you
just
is
going to the
really
pool.
easy.
Yeah.
And then when we got to the pool, Chris and Joey were there. So then we're like, all right. So we had gone up and we were like, got cameras and we were like, didn't want to approach them. And then they were approachable. And we're like, hey guys, is it cool if we get a picture? Like, yeah, of course. Like, why wouldn't we take a picture with you? And they were like super nice and friendly. And
Nice.
Justin was just like a complete D-bag the entire time. Like
I think
anytime
it was also
anyone
because
tried.
he was the youngest of the group, so it's like everyone else had kind of like gone through that and matured. And
Yeah.
when he was
maybe-
going through his formative years, everyone loved him. It's like I don't know how I'd be in
Could
high
be.
school if everybody thought I was the greatest thing ever.
That's true too.
I don't know. I
And-
don't wanna-
And I also
trying to
feel
play devil's
that
advocate
Justin had a lot of fans, and being a Chris fan, obviously you get bullied as well because they're like, oh my god, he's so ugly, blah blah blah. Justin's the greatest, right? Which is probably some stuff that also happened. And I also feel now looking back on it, it's the end of NSYNC was at that time, so he was already kind of in the turmoil.
Checked out.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
checked
That's-
out, so
that's
I
when
feel
they
like
went
he
to
didn't really
McDonald's
care.
And they decided to do the lawsuit.
Although, in retrospect, if he was about to launch his own solo career, he probably should have been nicer to random people that he's trying to impress.
Well, it's like 2004. Didn't he just break up with Britney? Like, he was probably
Oh,
depressed.
this was 2004.
Yeah.
So yeah, he'd already done Justified then.
No.
Yeah, Justified came out in 2002.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe it was
he's right.
2002.
Yeah.
I don't know if he had a solo. Maybe I got the year wrong.
Because I know that their last
Yeah.
like performance was at the Grammys in 2003, and then they did like it said something like they did a Children for Charity event
Yeah.
in 2004, 2005. It said on.
Yes, that was it. Yeah, so
Okay.
that was the one that they sang like the
Oh,
national
so he
anthem.
had already gone solo at
so
that
maybe
point.
that was it. Maybe he had
Yeah.
already. Maybe it was like he was doing like. Obviously, this happened before Nick did his thing, but kind of like, oh, I'm just going to test off doing a solo album, and because that did so well, maybe that's.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't
Okay.
know. I
Well,
was
I'm
just
glad
like, he
I
was
know
just a
now,
jerk,
'cause-
and I was just like, he was not nice at all either of the times. Like he was just dismissive both times, and I'm
You
just
did
like
nothing that would warrant
And I
that
didn't say
behavior.
it like I wasn't screaming at him, I wasn't grabbing at him, I didn't even say, hey, can I get a picture? It was literally just like, hey, and he was just like, whatever, and like I'm like, you know what, sir, go fuck yourself.
Also, he broke up in sync. Is Chinzia's whole
That's
thing.
the major stuff afterwards. So like, but before he broke up in sync, I also hated him. But from then on, and then because of him, Lance didn't get to go to outer space.
It's not
I,
just.
I don't think Justin stopped him. I think
Okay,
wasn't it
that
the $20 million
they
that
ran
was
out
going
of
to cost
$20
him to
million.
stop him going to space.
Listen, if GoFundMe was around back then, I feel like we could have funded Lance's space mission.
And then some really important causes would be like, really?
Yeah.
Probably,
true.
but
This rich guy's got to go to space? Okay, that seems
yes,
would've been
but
the first
in
boy
my
band in
mind,
space.
it was Justin's fault because he called him back.
I think no matter how successful you are, be nice because it can really go away. Like you could be touring stadiums one year and then the next year. New Kids had it in '94, where their last album they were doing stadium tours, and the next tour they did they couldn't. They weren't even
sell
selling
the
at clubs or
tickets.
theaters
Yeah.
anymore.
Was
Like
that after the whole hotel thing? Was that it? Wasn't there something
the
like
hotel happened during that stadium tour.
Okay.
But yeah, then they took a couple years off, recorded a new album, and nobody was buying it anymore. They weren't. It's not. I'm not saying they were mean. That was the issue, but it really can change overnight.
Can you tell people what this hotel incident is in case they don't know?
I only vaguely know.
I
Something about
know.
a fire or
Oh,
something.
did-
Yeah,
He set off a fire extinguisher in his hotel room.
Who's he?
Donnie.
Donnie Wahlberg,
Donnie.
according to the Behind the Music, which I was just watching the other day because that's the kind of life I live.
Yay.
He said there was no fire, and I just set off a fire extinguisher, like because he was really bored, and like his whole hotel room looked like it snowed afterwards. And then he got arrested, and they said that he started a fire and that he was potentially going to face like prison time for it or something. So it was they turned it into a scandal when nothing happened. That's what they say. I don't know. Maybe he really did burn somebody. Maybe he killed someone. I don't know, guys. I'm not accusing him of anything. I'm just saying we don't know.
All right, I have a question regarding boy bands. Do you, as a male yourself, do you find it like sexist and degrading, like being objectified by lots of women?
No, but historically speaking, I feel like men have had it a lot easier than women. So I don't know. I can only speak to my guys. When my show happens, please objectify me. Like
Lydia's
there for you.
Oh my Lord.
Plus, that's what the band is selling. Like,
Yes.
they're boy bands. Usually, they're trying to get guys who also look good on stage.
True,
like,
true.
it's got to be the whole package. So,
Yes.
no, I don't find it sexist or objectifying, but that's just my perspective. If other people feel differently, then
So, question. So, when we start liking bands, we kind of gravitate, oh, this is my favorite member. He's so good looking. I like this guy. I like his voice. Do you have favorite members in
yeah,
the group?
absolutely.
Okay, so who's your favorite Backstreet Boy?
Brian.
Okay.
I miss his voice.
Yeah.
Like, and I can tell during some of the tours that, like, 'cause my girlfriend and I really watch it and, like, okay, that sounds like backing vocals.
Yeah.
But I understand if he's having to do it. Like, he does sing a lot live, too. If he genuinely can't help that he's got this problem. So, yeah. I'm just saying I missed that. JC was my favorite of NSYNC.
Yes.
Because Justin was great, too. But I'm like, JC also danced harder than everybody.
Yeah.
Like, he was doing a full-on cardio workout on stage and, like, hitting these crazy notes. So, yeah, those are my favorite members of...
And what about O-Town?
Oh, that one is a little more
Complicated.
I think Dan probably has the strongest voice. Jacob's got an interesting voice; like it's very good too. But yeah, Dan was a workhorse.
So you definitely go based off talent more than like I like this guy's style.
I think it plays into it a bit. But again, I'm not coming from it at it. I mean, I can objectively go, he's a good-looking guy, but I'm not like, oh my God, Brian, he's so dreamy. Like, that's not where I'm coming from. And also, he had the same name as me, so when I was 8, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I too could be a Backstreet Boy. I'm also a Brian.
I am also Brian.
Did you ever kind of like dress up as them for like Halloween or do anything like
No,
that?
I was
or-
a Power Ranger 8 years in a row.
Nice.
No, I never went
Power
as a
Rangers
boy
are
band
cool.
member. I really wish, because we do dress like, have different boy band eras that we dress as in the show, but I don't know, I'd love to do that like marionette thing they did on the No Strings Attached tour, or find the all white outfits for Millennium, but all white outfits are really hard to find and
Yes.
really expensive.
Yes.
Yes.
And they get dirty easily.
We did.
It was hard to find
on the
outfits
last
for us.
Backstreet Boys cruise in 2018. They had like an all white and Millennium night, and I was like, "Why can't I find white pants? What is this?"
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
It
very
was pretty
difficult.
hard to
And
find.
then Nick and AJ jumped in the pool. So obviously I'm jumped in. Diane's like, we're wearing white. I'm not jumping in a pool. I was like, goodbye. I'm like, Nick's half naked. I'm jumping in there.
Goodbye,
We're good.
dignity. Not today.
Hold my cell phone.
Do you know how much I paid for those white shoes? No.
Oh, yeah, white clothing is very hard
Yes.
to find. Yeah. I have a pair of white capris. I just don't want to let it go because I'm like, I might need these like in 6 years. I don't know. Yeah.
I do find that it's not just a Backstreet Boy thing, the white outfits, because New Kids were wearing white outfits for the mixtape tour, and
Yeah, and then-
Sync has
Oh,
done
yeah, they
it
were,
and
yeah.
everything.
Joe Bros did some recent promo with all white, so I feel
Well,
like it's
they
a boy
can
band.
afford the white outfits.
Yes, they were probably gifted them.
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay. Sorry.
Go.
I'm just working things out for your show, for your next show. What you could do is you could have like a pail that someone like stands in, and then have like the water while they're wearing all white. So that way it's contained and like a swimming pool, like a child's swimming pool. And then
And are you going to volunteer to put this pool on and off the stage?
We might need a stagehand for that. Do you know of anyone that might be able to?
and we can sell the water afterwards.
Oh! At first I thought you meant water bottles. I'm like, ew.
No. Like,
No, that thing is going in a toilet. Lydia.
On that note,
no, I was going to ask, what do you think of the whole Joe Bros reunion? Because we're like really into it, even though we weren't super into them when they came out.
Yeah.
Sucker is such a good song.
I'm really into the reunion. I was never there. I used to kind of dismiss them because again, when you get a little bit older, you're like, no, Backstreet's that's a real boy band.
Yeah.
Because you know they played instruments, they didn't dance and stuff like that. But and also their voices were a lot higher back then. A lot of them hadn't gone through puberty. But hearing them now, it's like, well, they can really sing and they can play. I just listened to that. Or I watched that Billboard performance they did for the first time. I was like, oh my God, they're really rocking it. So, yeah, I really respect them.
Yeah, they're like blowing my expectations.
Yeah.
We're excited.
And I
for the
watched that
concert.
documentary too.
You did good.
Yeah.
Okay, so did we.
Yes.
I liked it. My only thought was it just felt a little more scripted than the Backstreet Boys one.
For
sure.
Like the drinking game, it literally was like, okay, then you're going to answer this question because that's going to relate to the next part of the story.
Yes,
Whereas
true.
Backstreet Boys, I'm sure, yes, Backstreet, you're trying to assemble a documentary and make it a 3-act structure. But with the Backstreet Boys, you're seeing Nick yelling at Brian, like you're really seeing the warts and all. Whereas Jonas Brothers, they're talking about the bad stuff, but they're never really going past that line. But I still thought it was good.
Yeah. Yeah, like the thing with like their church really like
Oh,
blew my mind.
I would love.
too.
I wish more boy bands would do like an all access. Like
Yeah.
now that especially now, once you're not in the Jonas Brothers are still really successful, but once you're past the peak a little bit. Sorry, what were you
No, I just had a brilliant idea. So, Lance, if you're listening and the rest of NSYNC, if you're going to reunite, you got to record it documentary style and then
Please.
release that.
Yes,
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
We willed it.
Putting it into the universe.
Please.
Vision board, make it so.
There you go. Is maybe O Town should do that too? Had they done
I think
something
they're
kind of
okay
similar?
now. They're on tour, so.
I don't know. I don't know because their whole like creation of their band is on film, right?
No, right, exactly. Bring back Ashley, damn it.
I think the O-Town one would be
Nobody
interesting though
wants that.
because
To go from
they
because
never
now
got
they're
to the
independent.
highs of where
Yeah.
Backstreet Boys and NSYNC did. So it'd almost be an interesting perspective on yes, they're making a living, they're successful, that's awesome. But like in terms of why they split up because the market wasn't there for them in 2003, they all did their own stuff, some to more success than others. And then when they came back, they're like, it's awesome, but they kind of bring their own equipment in. They do their own sound checks. They
play their own backing music. Like
Exactly.
Jacob has that
exactly.
iPad and he like presses play. And
So I would
goes.
kind of like that perspective on. I think that would be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool. Okay. One last thing. Is there anything you want our tens of listeners and the rest of the world to know about male
I think
boy
I
band
might have
fans?
lost some of those tens of listeners. I might have set you guys back.
They're very loyal.
What I want them to know about boy bands?
No, about you. Like about wait.
About male boy band fans in general.
Yes. Like what's
Have you met, actually, before we do that, have you met a lot of other male boy band fans?
I found one. When we did the show last time, there was a guy, he might even be a bigger fan than me. You know that Run BSB shirt that AJ
Yes,
wears?
oh, yeah.
He Honey, yes. Okay, Honey. Yeah, he reached out to me and came to the show, and he actually made 5 shirts for us to wear for the show last time.
Oh,
We're
he
gonna
was
be
handing out business cards.
Yeah, we're gonna be bringing them. We're gonna be bringing those shirts back. So yeah, he's a big, and he's gotten to meet them and like go to concerts.
Yeah,
and
we've met him.
He
bunch
gets
of
some
times.
concert tickets sometimes for like the work he's done, and I'm like, oh man, it's like I feel like I'm like
Living
boy
the
band
dream.
adjacent from him. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, I met him. I haven't met too many others that are other than just like, oh yeah, I Want It That Way's a good song. Yeah. Other than that, it's hard to find really hardcore male
for
boy
sure.
band fans.
There's like literally like 5 Backstreet Boy fans that we know off the top of our head, and they kind of live around. We're not shouting them out, but
This
yeah.
area, yeah.
Yes.
Why are you not shouting them out?
'Cause, okay, John, Jerry, Ralph, Gino. Like Gino's in Italy, but like those are like so like
Tony.
in the fandom. So like honestly, in the fandom though, there's only like. Especially the ones that go out and visual, because there might be a
you
lot
know
of
Matt.
like Matt. Yes, Matt. Sorry, I forgot about Matt. From he's New York, I think.
No, California.
California. Really?
Yeah, that's how he can go to all that stuff all the time. That's how he was at like every
But
Vegas
he's, like,
show.
friends with Lena. Anyways, so but I find that in our fandom there are like we can literally name the 5 or 6 like hardcore Backstreet Boy male fans. So obviously it's much harder to find as many of them. So
Well, that's the thing. Like, if I wasn't doing the show, I don't know if you guys would know me. Like, because I mean, I can't afford to go out to all these things. So I'm sure there are probably a lot of hardcore fans that just might not be able to,
or might be too scared to go to concerts.
Yeah,
by
might be too
themselves, or
nervous.
just be
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Like, it's kind of weird.
It
to
feels
go-
weird. Movies I can go to alone all the time. I'd feel weird going to a concert alone, even though there's nothing wrong with it. I still feel like maybe there's that stigma to it. I don't know. Come out of the woodworks, guys. Be yourself.
Oh, that's
That's a good message.
That's a good way to end
Maybe
it.
you can find yourselves on @boybandbreak.com, and then we'll have Brian there, and then we'll just
.com. We don't have.
we don't have a .com @boybandbreak on
Brian, what's your
Facebook.
social media?
Boy Band's Tale.
So TALE.
Yes,
Like the
TALE.
Yes.
You can
So
find all of our show info, links to all of our personals. Actually, I don't have a personal because I don't know what I'd post on there. Just be pictures of my dog.
but you run the you run the boy band.
Yes,
Tale.
I run the page.
Yeah, so for sure. So any male fans who want to connect with Brian, go there.
Let's be
Yes.
best friends. Maybe let's start an actual boy band, guys.
There you
Come
go.
on.
And then Lydia can manage.
Yes.
So did
Yeah,
you answer
that's
the
right.
other question?
That's a discussion for later.
Sorry that I interjected Diane's earlier.
No, this
Did
is
you?
fine.
You're
He
good?
answered it indirectly, so we're good.
Okay.
Thanks for taking a break with us, everyone.
Until next time.
Thanks for listening.
Bye, bye, bye.
Bye.
You did it.
Thank you, guys.